Hello there. We will be speaking with guest host Latara Starling on today about robotics in sterile processing, how far it has come, how well it is going, and exactly what may be hindering sterile processing to keep it up.
Hello, Peyton, and thank you for having me on your show today to speak with you about robotics and sterile processing. I hope this helps people to understand the concepts of robotics in the surgical aspect of everything in the medical field.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, if we could just go ahead and get the ball rolling and start talking about how robotics are basically revolutionating the medical area and what sterile processing is seeing on their side of things. Can you tell me a little bit about what is changing in the healthcare world when it comes to robots or robotics?
Okay, well, when it comes to robotics or robots in the medical field, well, I would say that the robotic surgery has come a long way, which is also called robotic assisted surgery. This surgery actually allows doctors to perform many types of complex procedures with more precision, flexibility, and control that makes it possible with conventional techniques. When it comes to robotic surgery, it's usually associated with minimum invasive surgery and procedures that are performed through tiny incisions. It is also sometimes used in certain traditional open surgical procedures. The most widely used clinical robotic surgical system includes a camera arm and mechanical arms with surgical instruments attached to them. The surgeon controls the arms while sitting at a computer console near the operating table. And the console basically gives the surgeon a high definition, like a 3D surgical picture of the site that they're working on. And the surgeon also needs other team members who are going to actually help to assist during the operation. Surgeons who use the robotic system find that many procedures, it helps to enhance the precision, the flexibility, and the control during the operation and allows them to better see the site compared with traditional techniques of just regular surgical instruments that surgeons used to use before the robotics instruments came out. Using robotic surgery, surgeons can perform delicate and complex procedures that may be more difficult or impossible with other methods. And when they say with other methods, like I said before, with these surgical instruments like the scalpel. Often, robotic surgery makes minimum invasive surgery possible, and the benefits of minimum invasive surgery may include fewer complications, such as surgical site infection, less pain, blood loss, shorter hospital stays, and of course, quicker recovery and smaller, less noticeable scars. And I would say that that information is actually provided by https colon slash backslash www.mayoclinic.org is what where we were able to receive that information about the current role of robotics in surgery.
What is the current role of robotics in surgery?
Well, the current role with robotics in surgery is Well, of course, there's many types of new medical procedures that they use. When it comes to healthcare and robotics, robots are everywhere, from science fiction to your local hospital, and they're changing healthcare. For the most part, robots are robots. People might think of Star Wars when they think about robots. But they're making a big impact on the field of medicine. Robots in medicine help by relieving medical personnel from routine tasks that take their time away from more pressing responsibilities, and by making medical procedures safer and less costly for patients. They can also perform accurate surgery in tiny places and transport dangerous substances. Robotic medical assistants monitor patient vital status, statistics, and alert the nurses when there is a need for human presence in the room, allowing nurses to monitor several patients at once. And these are robotic assistants that are actually in some hospitals now, and they have robotic carts, which you might see moving through hospital corridors carrying supplies. Well, that means that we don't need the human personnel, when we have all these other robotics that are taking over people's jobs. Like I said, they're assisting surgery now, and that allows the doctors to conduct surgery through as tiny incisions instead of an inch-long incision. Robotics are making a big impact in other areas of medicine as well. Robotic technologies, they appear in many different areas directly with the patients. They can be used to disinfect patient rooms and operating suites. Help to reduce risk for patients and medical personnel. Robots, they work in laboratories to take samples and to transport, analyze, and store them. And this is all really good news, because they even have some that can draw blood by someone who had to try several times to find a good vein. And that's really amazing how far our healthcare system has come from robotics, because I would never have thought that a robot would draw someone's blood. That's remarkable. The robotic lab assistant can locate veins and draw blood with less pain and anxiety for the patients. Robots can also prepare and dispense medications in pharmaceutical labs. In larger facilities, robotic carts carry bed linens and even meals from floor to floor, riding elevators and maneuvering through automatic doors. There are also gears and wires, robotic assistants that help paraplegics move and can administer physical therapy. So a lot of people want to know, is the robots going to basically take over? Are they going to replace human workers? Well, the answer to that is, and I'm actually asking myself the question, because I know there's a lot of questions. A lot of people ask that particular question when it comes to robots. The ultimate question for robotics in healthcare is whether they would take jobs away from humans, which there are several reasons why the machines would never replace human counterparts. For the one major thing is most hospitals have less than 300 beds. They simply cannot afford the technology. The automated guided vehicles require a dedicated hall or floor and tracks and the installation of navigation devices throughout the facilities. Other carts work with the help of a laser drawn map of the hospital programmed into them that includes elevator turns and automated doors. That process is also extremely expensive, but ultimately, robotic assistants cannot replace basic human contact. Even though the technology is expensive and some of it's years from being implemented, the use of robots is changing healthcare, and in ways we can only imagine will continue to do so. And that's from www.healthcareadministrationdegree.net.
What are advantages of robotic surgery?
Like we had discussed earlier about the advantages of robotic surgery. Some of the advantages of robotic surgery, you are actually able to the surgeon is able to actually perform the surgeries in little or no time at all. It takes a surgeon less time nowadays to actually do surgery when it comes to robotic surgeries. Um, and of course, there's less pain during and after surgery when it's dealing with robotic surgery. You'll be less dependent on painkillers during recovery, reducing the risk of addiction. There's way less blood loss during robotic surgery, and it's minimum, and you generally avoid the need for blood transfusions whenever you have a robotic surgery done.
Okay, I understand the different advantages of robotic surgery, but are there any disadvantages that may hinder patients?
And of course, there are disadvantages of robotic surgeries. So the disadvantages of having a robotic surgery might be it might be only available in centers that can afford the technology and have specially trained surgeons. Um, you might also see where your surgeon may need to convert to an open procedure with larger incisions if there are complications from the surgeon that you may be having. This includes scar tissue from previous surgeries that make it difficult for robotic technology to complete the procedure. There is also risk of nerve damage and compression and robotic malfunction, which is extremely rare when it comes to the disadvantages of robotic surgery.
So when it comes to sterile processing, how is it that coming along in terms of robotics?
Well, as robotic technology surges, sterilization lags behind. We say that to say whether you use robotic assisted surgery or not, the technology has undoubtedly advanced the field of surgery. It can increase surgeon visualization, accuracy, and performance, and reduce patient incision size, blood loss, and hospital length of stay. The robotic assisted surgery improves on both laparoscopic and open techniques by combining a minimum invasive approach with the supplementary benefit of a 3D magnified image. It also allows for improved ergonomics and dexterity compared with traditional approaches because it's designed to replicate a surgeon's natural movements, but with more precision. Nevertheless, the investment in robust robotic programs is generally still lacking in healthcare organizations. As such, it's critical that surgeons and OR leadership work with the administrators to not only define their hospital's robotic needs, but also to insist they commit to the infrastructure needed to support these efforts. This may include programs that provide the necessary components to train surgical staff and provide the financing for critical support areas such as central sterile processing. Along with those requirements, robotic systems are a big investment that can exceed up to $2 million, and the spending doesn't stop there. RAS, which is RAS, also requires limited use consumables such as surgical arms, staplers, and other accessories. These ongoing costs can range from hundreds to thousands of dollars and would vary greatly with the type of robot and the surgical specialty using the device. But not only are these pieces expensive equipment, they must be handled thoughtfully, not just in the surgical site, but also in CSP to protect the facility's asset and maintain the safety of patients. In my experience, it's rare to find a CSPD that has the equipment and skill to keep up with fast-paced changes occurring in surgery. And I say this to say that the problem is that instruments have become more complex in their design. These devices can have multiple articulation points that are controlled by wires and pulley systems, which can easily become contaminated with blood and body tissue during a surgical procedure. Although CSP can attempt to clean around the wires and the cannulas, is extremely difficult because these consumables cannot be taken apart, making it hard to visualize every aspect. And unfortunately, manufacturers rarely design an instrument with reprocessing in mind. It's only after the devices are engineered that they attempt to replicate the cleaning process, and create the manufacturer's instructions for use. Excuse me. Even so, many IFUs used today are vague and use non-specific language, which leaves a great deal of the responsibility to the CSP staff. Each instrument may require different steps or chemicals that can add time to the process, because time is money. Surgery departments often push CSP too quickly, turn over instruments and sets, and this can lead to shortcuts and mistakes made. The bottom line is many healthcare organizations have not considered what's needed to properly clean, reprocess, and effectively sterilize limited use consumables. The last thing administrators want to hear about spending millions of dollars on a new robot is that CSP needs more money to purchase the right equipment, as well as the time it will take to train their staff, and ongoing costs for the proper tools and chemicals used in the cleaning process. Yes, I would say that right now in the medical field, we're seeing advancements in robotic navigation technology. This robotic technology has really enhanced surgical processes. Like I said before, robots are revolutionizing the field of medicine. From critical care procedures to routine tasks, physicians and hospitals are adapting the use of this advanced technology, to reduce costs, enhance precision, and increase safety. The robotic magnetic navigation is in electropsychology. It was introduced a decade ago and continues to evolve. The Innovative Genius system offers the proven benefits, or RMN, in a design that is faster, smaller, lighter, and more flexible. The system consists of two robotically controlled magnets positioned on flexible and rugged robotic arms that are located next to the operating table. During the procedure, a physician uses a computer interface to adjust the magnetic field around the patient, directing and steering the magnetic catheter inside of the patient with extreme precision. The system's small size improves the patient experience while on the operating table and provides medical personnel with greater access to the patient during the procedure. So I would say this type of technology in robotics, this is like number one right now, that they are really just seeing physicians really love this new robotic system that they are coming out with.
Again, thank you so much for joining us on today.